The first step, or more precisely, the capacity to walk on two legs, was what started the protracted evolutionary process that gave rise to modern humans. But it's challenging to come to an agreement on the big picture of human evolution. The map of our evolutionary journey as humans continues to grow as a result of new discoveries. How are we related to other prehistoric groups and species has been a persistent question for scientists since they first started discovering fossils that resemble ancient humans. How do we fit in with the Neanderthals and Denisovans who coexisted with us on Earth for the majority of our existence? In particular, 800,000 years ago, the ancestors of Neanderthals and modern humans were wandering the old world when a pivotal genetic mutation caused them to separate into a new species. A widely held idea was that our parent species also gave rise to our sister species, the Denisovans and the Neanderthals. In other words, the two species share a common ancestor, known as Ancestor X. One of the major mysteries of human evolution is the sudden divergence of ancient human lineages. However, when studying the ancient past, one time period pops up repeatedly. The Earth's magnetic field broke down around the birth of human consciousness 795,000 years ago, leading to the eventual rise of Homo Sapiens. As we will see, the Earth suffered several millennia of horrific conditions caused by a reversal of the Earth's magnetic poles and a meteor impact. But rather than Homo sapiens, Homo erectus and their offspring, our direct ancestors ruled the Earth at the time. In terms of the morphological distinction between Homo sapiens and Homo erectus, geneticists identify them as subspecies, Homo sapiens sapiens and Homo sapiens erectus, based on their overlapping features. Furthermore, Neanderthals would be designated as Homo sapiens neanderthalensis, while Denisovans would also be designated as a Homo sapiens subspecies. Recently, scientists discovered that the complete reversal of the Earth's magnetic field took significantly longer than previously assumed. Researchers discovered that the reversal took roughly 22,000 years to complete, with the field beginning to collapse around 795,000 years ago, and stabilizing around 773,000 years ago. The abrupt changes and unprecedented high UV levels would have led ancient humans to seek cover in caves, and it must have felt like the end of the world. Incredibly, genetic markers tell us that 781,000 years ago, right in the middle of this pole reversal, ancient humans separated into two groups, the Denisovans and ancestor of the Neanderthals and Homo sapiens. The geomagnetic reversal set off a chain of dramatic events with far-reaching effects for our planet. The ozone layer was destroyed, tropical electrical storms raged, solar winds produced amazing auroras, Arctic air rushed into North America, ice sheets and glacier erupted, and weather patterns transformed abruptly. The Earth is a gigantic magnet because its core is solid iron, and an ocean of molten metal swirls around it. This churning generates a massive magnetic field that wraps around the globe, shielding it from charged cosmic rays from space. The magnetic field can become unstable and its north and south poles can flip for reasons that scientists do not completely understand. Life on Earth was exposed to extreme ultraviolet radiation during these occurrences, and megafauna became extinct, while humans sought refuge in caves. The North Pole traveled across North America, out towards New York, and then back over to the west, then raced down through the Pacific to Antarctica, before shooting back up through the Indian Ocean to the North Pole. In fact, when the poles moved, trees exhibited a lengthy surge in atmospheric radiocarbon levels caused by the collapse of Earth's magnetic field. Tropical Pacific rain belts and Southern Ocean westerly winds rapidly altered at the same period, bringing arid conditions to locations like Australia at the same time that a variety of megafauna, including enormous kangaroos and huge wombats, were extinct. Further north, the enormous Laurentide ice sheet swiftly expanded across eastern North America, while archaic humans disappeared in most of Europe. With no magnetic field, our planet lost its barrier against cosmic radiation, allowing far more of these penetrating particles from space to enter the upper atmosphere. High-energy cosmic rays from the galaxy, as well as massive bursts of cosmic rays from solar flares, were able to penetrate the upper atmosphere, charging the particles in the air and generating chemical changes that cause stratospheric ozone loss. These climate occurrences match the environmental transitions seen in many natural climate and environmental change datasets. These conditions would have also extended the world's magnificent aurora displays. At times, nights would have been as bright as day. The magnetic field of Earth is thought to be formed within the planet's iron core. It reaches far into space and serves to shield the atmosphere against solar wind, a stream of charged particles emitted by our Sun. Without the magnetic field, the particles would peel away the atmosphere, enabling dangerous radiation to pass through and eventually leaving Earth a lifeless, barren planet, similar to what happened billions of years ago on Mars. The magnetic field is dynamic, meaning it moves and changes strength throughout time. It can also reverse, with the magnetic north and south poles switching locations. This has occurred numerous times over the planet's history, but, due to the timescales involved, little is known about what happens when a reversal occurs. Lava flows, on the other hand, operate as a time capsule for the planet, providing information on the position of the Earth's magnetic field at the time it solidifies. The magnetic field began to disintegrate around 795,000 years ago, according to measurements. It grew unstable and experienced two partial reversals over the span of 18,000 years before undergoing a full reversal that took around 4,000 years to complete. The gap of 22,000 years between the onset of instability in the outer core dynamo was not unexpected by scientists. The complexity of the geologic record between approximately 795,000 and 773,000 years ago, on the other hand, is remarkable. The reversing process took longer and was more complicated than previously thought. Furthermore, scientific data indicates that Denisovan mitochondrial DNA diverged from modern human and Neanderthal mitochondrial DNA around 779,300 years ago. The cause of the abrupt split in early humans is unknown, although a rapid mutation is one likely explanation for the emergence of several human tribes. The mutation theory is the most cost-effective explanation for why humans diverged abruptly. Although fossilized skulls reveal nothing about the brain beneath, a gene mutation may have altered important neural processes like speech and language. Experiments in the lab with mini-brains have shown that tiny mutations caused the differences between Neanderthal and modern human brains. Furthermore, during a particularly long and cold ice age, the mitochondrial DNA of Neanderthals and modern humans became incompatible, resulting in the biological split of two groups some 500,000 years ago. The identical genetic alterations are quite likely to have occurred 790,000 years ago, resulting from population bottlenecks. After a population experiences a population bottleneck, genetic drift frequently occurs. A population bottleneck occurs when a sizable portion of its members pass away or are otherwise prevented from reproducing, drastically reducing the size of the population. The idea that genetic drift contributes to the evolution of new species is based on the fact that it can also make a new population genetically distinct from its ancestral population. Despite inaccurate understanding of the time of both UVR flux and evolutionary events, it has long been assumed that ultraviolet radiation, UVR, reaching the Earth's surface affects biological evolution. Because of its function in sustaining stratospheric ozone, the previous strength of Earth's dipole field serves as a proxy for UVR flux. Estimates of the time of branching episodes in the human evolutionary tree based on present and fossil DNA and Y chromosomes can be connected to minima in field strength, implying a long-term function for UVR in human evolution. In fact, the demise of the Neanderthals has been linked to UVR exposure during the last magnetic field breakdown 42,000 years ago, and their light skin may have been a factor in their extinction. New fossil discoveries, improved fossil dating, understanding of the past strength of the Earth's magnetic field, and refinements to the human evolutionary tree are all focusing attention on a possible link between UVR arriving at the Earth's surface, magnetic field strength, and events in mammalian evolution. Researchers are finding ancient bones and stone tools, studying our genes, and simulating the shifting environments that helped shape the world of our ancestors, and guided their evolution in order to better understand how Homo sapiens ultimately evolved from these older lineages of hominins. Coincidentally, Earth was also bombarded by meteors at the same time, 790,000 years ago. An asteroid 1.2 miles across split the sky over modern-day Southeast Asia one day in the late Pleistocene. The massive space rock crashed in at a shallow angle, ripping out a crater more than 10 miles wide and showering debris on the surrounding terrain. The Earth-striking body was at least a kilometer in size, and delivered an astounding 1 million megatons of TNT energy within seconds of impact, according to the size of the scattered field and the dispersion of the tektites. The meteor collided with Earth with such intensity that the resulting explosion covered nearly 10% of the planet in gleaming black chunks of stony debris. These glassy blobs of melted terrestrial rock, known as tektites, were found all over the world, from Southeast Asia to eastern Antarctica, and from the Indian Ocean to the western Pacific. The collision is supposed to have generated a rim more than 300 feet tall and thrown glass blobs thousands of miles. Some fled the Earth's atmosphere and gained their flanged edge upon re-entry. The Australasian tektite strewn field is the greatest location where tektites are found. It is the largest of its kind, encompassing 1/10 of the planet's surface. Some of these tektites have even been discovered as far away as the Antarctic coast. While the impact was not severe enough to cause a mass extinction, it was significant enough to leave a large crater. Indeed, the findings prompted the researchers to believe that many cosmic collisions occurred. In addition to the events in Australasia and Central America, a smaller collision in Tasmania about the same period formed the Darwin crater. The scientists predicted disastrous results. Locally, there were wildfires and tremors for hundreds of kilometers around the impact location, and an ocean impact would have resulted in tsunamis hundreds of meters high. Globally, dust and gases were blasted into the upper atmosphere, obstructing sunlight and decreasing surface temperatures. The scenario took place at a time when Homo erectus had already expanded from Africa to China and even to Southeast Asia's islands. Archaeological artifacts discovered with tektites in southern China indicate the presence of a Homo erectus population in the area during and after the impact. Stone tools and a charcoal layer, most likely generated by flames from the impact, have been discovered in the debris field. It has even been proposed that the ensuing local deforestation following the fires made it simpler for this group to get stones essential for toolmaking. Nobody knows if the asteroid hit the ground and broke up, or if it burst just above ground level, but either way, the event was catastrophic. It would have killed off life near the impact region, and it must have been a dreadful place to live at the time. However, this event, combined with the magnetic pole reversal, is thought to have given origin to the human group that evolved into Homo sapiens. It all depends on how you draw the tree, with some seeing Homo sapiens as a branch and others seeing Homo sapiens as the primary trunk, all the way back to the split right before 800,000 years ago. Nonetheless, despite early reservations among phylogeneticists with expertise beyond the human genus, the molecular out-of-Africa hypothesis has been widely accepted among population geneticists for more than 30 years. The paleontological basis for the idea is likewise unclear, a situation that has been more pronounced in recent decades as Eurasian paleontological knowledge has grown. The findings are also consistent with the paleontological confirmed presence of Homo erectus in Eurasia, a Eurasian divergence between Homo sapiens and Homo antecessor, and a Homo sapiens divergence between Neanderthals and Denisovans. However, the existence of these investigations, and hence their phylogenetic implications, has been ignored by proponents of the out-of-Africa concept. According to these findings, Eurasia was the provider rather than the recipient in the evolution of Homo sapiens. The discovery that Homo sapiens sapiens left Africa as erectus, and returned as Homo sapiens sapiens represents a shift in thinking of Homo sapiens development, to one that is consistent with the large Eurasian record of Homo sapiens paleontology and archaeology.